Hey, everyone. Welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got a really great guest on today. He has a career spanning over 18 plus years, working for various technology corporations in roles ranging from software coder to leadership roles like CTO and head of technology. He's passionate about web technologies and was instrumental in delivering key software products for companies like Apple, Tesco, Boeing, to name a few. Please join me in welcoming John Manoah. Welcome.
Thanks, Thomas. It's such an honor to be part of this podcast. Thanks for inviting me.
My pleasure. Are you ready for 20 questions?
Yes, ready as ever.
Okay, question one. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
Well, a little bit about myself. My name is John, and like Thomas said, I've been a technologist working in the software field for more than 20 years by now, or more than that. So that's what I do for my main line of work. But there are many other things that I do. I'm also an author. I've published two books so far, and I'm writing my third and fourth one. I don't know when I'm going to publish it, but planning to do that in the near future. I'm also a musician. I've published music, and some of my songs and music are available on Spotify and other streaming platforms. And very recently, I took on flying. So I'm also a pilot in training. So these are some of the things that I do other than, working in the software field. And I forgot to mention that I'm also the head of the department for the web department in Van Arts, which I absolutely love, teaching students and interacting with students.
Great. And just a quick note for the audience, if you guys are interested in more of the Vancouver episodes, check out our somewhat recent episode with Marion Banshees. She's a key figure in the Vancouver community. So question two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
That's interesting. So what makes me different? I've always been very explorative in my life. There's never in my life I can turn back and say that, oh, I was kind of satisfied with where I am and thought, okay, let me just chill. I've never done that. It's always being, passionate about what's happening around and how to advance myself in a very explorative fashion. So I think a key piece of knowledge that I would say is I'm kind of very explorative, always trying to learn more. That keeps me going.
Great. Okay. And number three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
Okay, probably we should change that to why these, plural, then because I do a lot of things like I said before. Again, the answer would be the same as previous. Since I'm very explorative, I find that if you have passion and if passion becomes an obsession, that is where your heart lies, right? So apparently, in all the things that I'm doing currently, I seem to have a lot of passion, and some of them have become an obsession also. And that's what is driving me, and that's what I'm doing all of these things. So, for example, teaching is one of the things that I do, and it's always been a passion for me to teach and see lives changed in students. It's such a beautiful thing to see. But off late, I'm becoming more and more passionate, and it's becoming an obsession that I'm like, okay, you know what? How can I teach more? What are avenues for teaching more? So, like I said, being explorative and having passion, and some of these passions turning to obsession drives me.
Great. Okay. Some people struggle with number four, but the question is, what does your future look like?
It's an interesting question, but uh, I would want to continue doing what I'm doing. But if I turn back, what I did in my 20s and how things turned to be in my 30s, and currently I'm in my early 40s, right? So things seem to change, and I seem to change based on the experiences. So I think my future would be what I'm doing currently, but with a much more pragmatic view of life. I think everyone would agree that, at your in your 20s, you're just wild, okay? No fear. 30s, some sort of responsibility kicks in, and 40s things change. So my future, like I said, it looks like I would be continuing what I'm doing, being explorative and doing multiple things and having passion, but in more mature and more lessons learned sort of way, if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. So number five, we say is unique to this show. The question is, let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
Oh, well, it's an interesting question because location and place, we cannot narrow down with one location or place. You can pin it with that, right? A location could be your society that you are brought up, right? So you get to absorb a lot of societal norms and practices and mannerisms and practices around, right? But also location and place would be, the kind of people you deal with, whom you're friends with, and your family and all of that. So personally, I think it's very critical in one's life about location because it kind of molds you as a person, your thought process, how you react to things, how you perceive things can be largely, influenced, sometimes manipulated by place. So in my case, I believe I'm a very positive person and I encourage positivity. So for me, being around a positive place, people who are positive, and people who encourage each other, and there's less negativity and evil, that's what I would love to be in.
Great. Number six, if you had to start from the beginning, what advice would you give your former younger self?
Very nice question because um, I don't know, Thomas, if you read my LinkedIn profile, my introduction says top 5 reasons why you shouldn't hire me. It's kind of crazy to write something like that on your LinkedIn profile, but I wrote it in a very sarcastic way, saying why you shouldn't hire me, highlighting what are my strengths, right? So in that, one of the points that I've written is, I like to be, I don't want to be an expert in anything. I want to be explorative. That means, I'm not focused on one thing. I'm just, trying to explore life as it is, right? Sometimes, even though it's where my heart lies, sometimes I think, it could also be the other way. Some people don't choose that. Some people choose one thing in life and they focus on that one thing. And at some point in life, they become an expert on that, right? And I've never been like that. And I've always admired people, for example, there's a guitarist who started off like everybody else, but since they have not, given room for any other things other than playing the guitar, in a decade or so, they become very proficient. Like in 2 decades, they will become an expert, and in 3 decades, they become like the greatest guitarist in the world, right? I've never experienced that in my life because, like I said, I do so many things, and my passion in life is to be, explorative. So if I have to go back and start it all again, I think I might try that. I might stop doing many things and focus on one thing and see if I could become like the greatest of all in one thing. I don't know what it is, but that would be one thing that I would tell my younger self.
Great, I love it. And what's a day in your life like?
Well, since I have a lot of things going on, I'm an early riser, so I wake up early and I have my exercise routine. I believe that's very key part of every human's life to work out some sort of routine, 10 minutes if it is, 15 minutes. Start off simple, but something that activates your body. So that's something that I do. And then usually by the things that I do, there are a lot of meetings in the morning, some back to back. Sometimes I have some free periods in between. I'm an avid foodie. I love food. I travel for food. I cook a lot of food. So a part of my day is exploring something new to cook or eat, and trying new delicacies and all of that. Not every single day, but most of the times. Lunch I could cook myself and try something new. And so my work life goes on till evening, but then in the evening I get some time to spend with family and enjoy togetherness with them. So I kind of divide my entire day into this, personal discipline like exercising and keeping tab on your health, with your career, and then with family. That's how I divide it.
Great. And 8 is around lifelong learning. It's a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Well, it's we I think we are blessed with the gift of internet. 20 years back, I still remember we used to have dial-up connections, and you'll have to run to a library to read something, and library contain books of that are old, that may not be current, and all of that. So we work through that, and today we have like the entire world in the palm of our hands, which means my phone can bring me any information from any part of the world. So I make sure that I'm subscribed to newsletters, and I have certain topics of interest that I get that I read through, and if one of those articles are of specific interest, I read through them, and then I attend seminars and conferences. I travel for work and attend seminars and conferences. And generally, since I'm an author, I read books, and I read a lot online also. I have my Kindle. I read a lot of books and read through many things. So that's probably how I keep myself updated.
Great. And 9 is around tools. Can you talk about your use of digital and analog tools?
Well, I don't know if I'm an analog guy. I'm a very digital person. Like I said, even books, I have my Kindle, which is a digital version of the book. But there is a specific joy in using analog than digital. It's primarily because we've become more digital. Analog has become more of an antique. So it's always when something becomes antique, it becomes precious. But like I said, I'm a digital nomad. I use Spotify to listen to music and podcasts. I use Kindle to read books, and I use my laptop and tablet to watch videos, and my laptop to do all my work. So I'm mostly a digital guy, but I think somewhere going forward, I want to slowly, start being analog also.
Great. Halfway, number 10. How do you deal with work-life or life-work balance?
It's a great question. I have a wonderful family. I have two beautiful sons and a wonderful wife. It is sometimes very difficult. Like I said, with me writing books and being a tech person, having a career, teaching, and also me being explorative, and also with my flying lessons and all of that. Sometimes it's very difficult to do have a great balance. But there is one motto that I have that probably could help others, and something that I stick to so religiously, is that at at no point in my life would my life complement my work, but it should always be the opposite. It should always be my work that is complementing my life. In my career, I've seen that there are times when I started noticing that my career or my family or my life is starting to adjust itself for my work. And that's where I draw a line. I say, no, that's not how it's going to work. My career, all the things that I do should finally, ultimately help me live a better life. Okay. It's not the other way around.
Great, I love it. Number 11, if you weren't doing what you do now, what might you be doing?
Well, that's an interesting question because I was born in an Indian family, and in the 80s, my parents were both government employees, and in India, both of them had degrees and very decent jobs. So I was constantly told that I should learn and finish schooling and then do a degree and then postgraduate and doctorate and all of that, like every other Indian family. That's something about Indians. We love to study and earn degrees. So I had a difference in thought. So by my 10th grade, I started becoming more interested in music. I joined a local band and we started touring for music because we started becoming popular and we were getting invitations. And my parents were okay. But there was one day in my during lunch in the dinner table, my I just floated this idea to my dad that hey dad, why don't I just drop out of school and become a musician? Looks like this seems to work. And he took me for a walk and he explained life and all of that in a very Indian dad way. And then what he said was, son, why don't you first finish your schooling and degrees and then you do whatever in your life, right? Uh, I I took that advice and then I went on to do my engineering and then my MBA and um, so if my dad did not give that advice and if I decided not to obey him, listen to him, I might have gone through that way. I mean, touring with the music troupe that I was part of and being someone in music, but I don't know if I would be a popular, famous musician, but I would not be what I am today. So my dad is no more. I totally don't regret the advice that he gave me, and I totally respect that.
Great. And number 12, what would you not like to do with your career?
Well, again, I want to go back to my LinkedIn profile about me that I've written. There are 5 things that I've written that I hate uh, doing or not doing or doing in a very sarcastic way. So I don't like mundane stuff where I'm told what to do and then I have to do that all my life. I think machines can do that. Humans can do much better. And and I'm particularly like I think I mentioned it before about positivity, right? I don't like I want to be in a very positive environment where people encourage each other and because everybody has faults and everybody has shortcomings, right? And it's about how we understand each other and respect each other's shortcoming and use it to each other's benefit and help each other. So what would I not like to do is to not be or is not be positive and encouraging and respecting others.
Great. And how about a favorite word, quote, or sentence?
But this is interesting because I have many favorite words, many quotes, and many sentences. But I think that this could be a nice time to talk about my mother tongue, which is Tamil. And Tamil is, I don't know how many of our viewers know this fact that Tamil is almost 2,500 years old. It's one of the oldest classical languages in the world that is still being spoken. I really love my language, and one of the epics of my language is a book called Tirukkural, and the Tirukkural means Tiru is holy and Kural is, I think, voice. It's a holy voice. That's how it is written. It's just 2-line proverbs that was written like 3,000 years before, words of wisdom. So one of the words sound like this, or one of the proverbs in Tirukkural sounds like this, and it might sound like gibberish to everybody. Please pardon it. It says, "Pirarkinna mutpagal செய்யின் தமக்கின்னா பிற்பகல் தாமே வரும்." Um, I'll explain what it means, and mind you, this is written 3,000 years back. Okay, so the author says that whatever you do to others in the morning will come back to you in the afternoon the same way you did to them or you gave them. So the author was very specific about not telling whether you do good or evil, but the author just said whatever you do, right, will come back to you. And something that I always hold close to my heart because it's so true in life, right? If you spend time building others, being positive, doing good, creating value, I mean, it comes back to you. But if you do things the opposite, yeah, I mean, if you pull down people and if you're spreading negativity, it comes back to you, right? It's back to you. So this is something that I cherish. Again, 3,000 years back, somebody sat and wrote this that said, whatever you do in the morning will come back to you right in the afternoon. So karma, right? In other words. So I really love that sentence, and I'm happy that I'm quoting this in this interview.
Great. Number 13. No, number 14. What's your least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
Yeah, so like I said, my least favorite word would be, this negativity and selfishness and being rude. I think life is too precious, and there are so many good things that you could do um, that you don't have time for. And like I said, I'm very impressed by this Tirukkural that I mentioned before.
Mm.
There is another proverb that is written in the same book that says that I don't remember the exact words, or the meaning of that proverb is that if there is a tree full of good fruits, okay, um, imagine a person goes to a tree that has very delicious, very nice fruits, but there could be a few bad fruits in the same tree, right? If a person is going and taking that fruit, right? The author is saying, why would someone choose a bad fruit from a tree when the tree has so many good fruits? Uh, Again, I really love this because it's the same with life today, right? I mean, there are so many good things, positive things, constructive things that you can do in your life. And why should we even spend time doing the opposite or things that don't build others or spread positivity?
Great. Okay, number 15. If you're choosing one word to describe yourself, what word would you choose?
Well, I think it's going to continue with what I told before. Since it's just one word, I would just say human with an E in the end, so it's humane, right? I like the way how English talks about human and humane, right?
Mm.
Uh, because every human is supposed to be humane. And I always dream of a world. I mean, if everybody stops being selfish and thinking only about themselves, and if we as a society, as mankind, start thinking in a more humane way about how to be nice and how to just be happy, I think we'll have a much better world.
Mm.
So yeah, humane would be the word.
Great. And what keeps you up at night?
Oh, well, like I said, I'm kind of explorative and I kind of challenge myself with many things. So since I'm explorative, I have a lot of dreams and a lot of things that I want to achieve. So if something that keeps me up at night, that's going to be those. But I want to also quote one of my most iconic people. that I always keep in mind is India's former president. His name is APJ Abdul Kalam. And you can talk to any Indian about him, and they would have only words of respect because he was a scientist with ISRO. ISRO is India Space Research Organization, and he was the head of ISRO, and he was key. He was instrumental in launching a lot of rockets into space and for the space discovery for India. He went on to become the president of India, and he went around spreading positivity and encouraging people. And one of the quotes that he said was, "A dream is something that you have. How do you qualify your dream? Is something that doesn't keep you up at or let you sleep. A dream is something that does not let you sleep."
Mm.
And this is something that I keep very close to my heart again, because if you ask anybody about dreams, everybody says, yeah, I have this dream, I have that dream, and all of that. But then these are just random thoughts, nice to have things. Oh, I wish I had this. I wish I could be this. I wish this happened. But since they are just dreams, you go to bed and sleep. But what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam says is that a dream is something that should not let you sleep. Okay, so this goes back to my earlier answer that says you need to have passion, and your passion should convert to being an obsession. So you can dream, but you can also be passionate about something, but you can actually be obsessive about something that you're like completely into it, right? So that's what keeps me up at night.
Great. And that segues nicely into number 17. What's a dream you're chasing?
Well, like there are many dreams, but one of the dreams that I'm chasing is, like I said, I'm also a teacher, and I really love teaching, and one of the things that I constantly mention is seeing people's life changed. For example, in one of the batches, I've had a waitress. She was waitressing and making some money. And then at some point in time, she thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to change my life. She doesn't know a single thing about technology, but you know what? Let me change my life around. Let me become a technologist. So she applied for the web program in Venarts. And initially, it was very tough because there were times I had to teach things like how to create a new folder, how to drag and drop, because those are things that she couldn't understand. But 10 months into the course, I still remember calling me and saying, hey, John, I'm setting up a server in the cloud. I don't know what environment I should deploy. And she was using all these jargons and all of that. And later called me once to say she was hired in one of the technology companies, right? So I really like to see that transformation in students. So the dream that I'm chasing is, how to elevate education, because I see that, education has not become advanced, or it has not evolved much in the past 100 or 200 years. We still have schools, teachers, same setting, same curriculum, and we're not evolving as fast as we've evolved in other places. So one of my dreams is to kind of completely revolutionize education with the help of technology and all the powers that we have today that we didn't have back then. But I haven't narrowed down how and exactly when. But that's something that probably 10 years from now, Thomas, if you talk to me, I might have some news to share with you.
Great. I love that. Number 18. What inspires you?
Well, what inspires me is, like I said, this human life, right? I mean, I'm also very interested in astronomy. I read about space and the beginning of time and all of that. Um, this question about the extremes, right? About how big is the universe? We can only go to certain things. Okay, the universe is whatever, 42 billion light years wide. Okay. But then if you start going the other direction, we started with molecules and atoms and nucleus of an atom, and then electrons, protons, and then we come up with gluons and muons, and now we also have this so many small particles that we're discovering, but we still have not understood what is the smallest and what is the biggest. Okay. Same with time. When did time begin and when is time going to end? So if you look at all these infinites, right, I believe that, we are just a small, negligible blip in this entire continuum. I don't even know how life evolves, how it ends. It's so complex. What inspires me is that we are part of such a massive thing that this brain cannot process. We don't know what happened before we were born. We don't know what's going to happen after we breathe our last. But then this whatever time that is given to you is, even though it's negligible, it's it's such a beautiful thing. You have a beautiful earth. We are not able to discover another earth, equivalent earth, anywhere near us. So what inspires me is this beautiful opportunity that we have in this, infinite, two infinites that I was talking about. And you have an opportunity to enjoy, to live, to make a difference in others' life, in your own life, and then, spend happy days. So that kind of inspires me, the universe and the science behind it, and what is big, what is small, and what the opportunity that the universe has given me in this entire huge unfathomable thing that is going on. I don't even know what that thing is, but yeah, that's what is inspirational to me.
Great. And I'm just going to move to wrap this up. So, number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you? What's our call to action?
Well, I have a website called johnmanoah.com. So that's my music website apparently, and I have some of the details of my books that I've written there. But you could also just Google about me, John Manoah, and you should be getting information about the books, my website, and other things that I do. And on my website there is a contact form where you could leave a message to me, and I'll be more than happy to talk, interact, have coffee, and respond to questions there.
Okay, John. Well, thank you so much for being on. It's such a pleasure to hear you talk about your passions and your focus on life. I think those are really key things for a lot of our listeners to pick up on. So thank you so much.
Thank you for such a good opportunity, Thomas. And I hope everything that I said would help and benefit everybody, every listener.
Great. Thanks so much.